Test, test. All right, that's looking good. Howdy, folks. Good evening. My name is Dave. I'm a wood turner. I started turning as therapy for PTSD and found out I had a knack for it. And then I fell in love with it. And then I started teaching it and fell in love with that too. So I started this channel to become a better teacher and a better demonstrator, but also a better turner. Practice is the secret sauce. There's no shortcuts, unfortunately. Yeah, that is the secret sauce is practice. Get proper instruction for the tool handling skills, and then practice those, and you will get better. Um, yeah, yeah. So thanks for joining me on this Wood Turning Wednesday. Been working on a small production job. Last night I turned a couple of Newell posts. I wanted to, or honestly was thinking about, I should say, streaming, turning the balusters, and I did actually stream part of that on Sunday, not on a normal like Tuesday or Wednesday. So now I know Abatus, who is in Canada, happened to catch me that evening. Um, it was funny. He said, "Hey, wait a minute, it's not Tuesday." But anyway, I turned a couple balusters on Sunday and streamed that, and then last night started with these balusters. So let's turn this camera down because we got one more of these dudes to do. So I turned this guy last night, right? So I need to make one more. I need to duplicate this one more time. Let's see, I do need to have that right there. So we're working with red oak. Red oak really does ask for sharp tools. It's a fairly hard wood, of course. Not one of my favorites to turn. The oaks, at least white oak and red oak, I don't think I've turned like haven't got a chance to turn bog oak, and I don't know, if bog oak is just called that or if it actually is an oak. I don't know how that works, but how the grain would be in like a bog oak or other oaks. I've only turned these two, um, and they can be kind of splintery. Um, I would say something like this, but this is a result of me having to cut this with a chainsaw. So anyway, all that'll be turned away. I wasn't very worried about screwing up the surface of that because this will be the top as it is here. Whoops, which you can't see there. You can see in the overhead. So this is the top. It's going to be domed, so all that'll be gone. It's not a big deal. I'm not super concerned about that. What I did do was mark my height here, so I'll have to address that, and we'll start laying out a few things. Work, get everything laid out, and then actually turn the elements like I did last night. It makes it, at least for me, because this is like, I'm doing two each of these particular Newell posts, and I'm just calling them a larger and a smaller. Basically, one is it's a broader, slightly taller Newell post, and then these shorter ones. And I think they're shorter. They're short by like a quarter of an inch, but they're not. The diameter is also smaller, so they're almost the same height as the large guys. So I did my, and then actually this would be good information for those who didn't make it last night. So I normally do a storyboard, and what I normally do when I'm turning multiples of things, In this case, balusters. I've done, chair spindles, leg spindles. Done tons of other balusters. Mahogany is interesting to turn. I think mahogany, the shavings and the dust on that, it smells great, but it really creates a lot of dust. Anyway, as I said, here we're working with red oak, and normally I'll draw out a storyboard. I'll trace the shape of the piece, usually on a storyboard. One profile, not the whole thing, but half a profile, if it'll work on that. And that's why I chose this larger piece. But I decided not to, because these diameters where I need to trace them are so far away from down. I don't have anything fine enough that would draw that really well. So I didn't really worry about it on these. And normally I'll put also a nail at each point so that I can just scratch it on as it's turning. But with this, because I'm just doing a couple, I don't know that I'll do any more of these. I kind of doubt it. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, it could be a future project at some point that wants newel posts like these. I don't know how popular they were back in the day when these guys were made, and I am curious. Yeah, that doesn't look like uh, oak to me, but on the other hand, this is also old growth. I don't know if you can see that on the camera. Uh, this was made quite a while ago. If you could see the ring structure in the camera here, I don't know that you can, but if you can, there's basically like two rings per 16th of an inch on this material. So this is old growth stuff. This stuff, this was turned, or at least the tree was really old. Wasn't one of the quicker growing varieties that we have nowadays. So this came out probably a much larger tree too. But anyway, I like interesting things like that. I think that's really cool to see, because you can see probably. Let's see if I can turn the. Oh well, let me turn the light on anyway and see if that that helps. So you can see the ring structure here in this laminate piece. They're much farther apart. So one ring basically is 3/16 of an inch, and here on this stuff, basically, essentially, two rings is a 16th of an inch. That's quite a difference. Um, so anyway, this guy's been around a while. Been around quite a while. I don't know if that's oak though, but in any case, that's what I'm turning it in. Okay, so as I said, I usually make a storyboard. I usually will put nails in it to scratch, but because of the odd shape of this, it wasn't going to happen, um, and other reasons. One of them being, again, I don't know how much or how many of these I'll ever turn, really. So what I was able to do with this piece, though, is because I originally was going to trace it. It's big enough that I could draw it on there, but I've got the shorter one on the other side. So I can just lay this out and turn it, go by these diameters and all that, and should work out really well. So this is the guy that I'm copying, reproducing. What's the word I'm looking for? I guess reproducing is okay, but it's not the word I'm looking for. It will come to me. And let's set this guy off to the side here. All right, so I've got on my storyboard, what would really be helpful is if I also had something like this kind of hanging around. And let's see, I'm going to go with a bowl gouge first, so it's a little too high. set you there. Got to make sure all of this is going to clear before I set my banjo down. And in general, I want to be as close to the work as I can get. Of course, I'm knocking the corners off so that that distance is going to look like it increases exponentially because I'm essentially shaving off at an angle. So I'll have to move the tool rest a couple of times, clearly, but want to make sure that all those pass by without hanging up anywhere. Glasses down. You know, I do want to check one thing right quick. What do we got here? I want to double check that I am actually broadcasting. Okay, that would be a yes. Cool beans. All right, so I'm ready to start, but I want to lay this out. So here on my storyboard, I've got, and we can use this also as a visual aid, which is why it's also here. The entire distance or height of this pedestal is 1.25 inches. But it's got a bit of an OG here. Oh, you can't see that in that camera. There we go. It's got a bit of an OG here. So this is 3/4 of an inch, but the whole piece starts out at 1.25 inches. So that's a 1/2 inch OG I've got to turn, which I didn't have any issue with last night, and I don't expect to have any this evening. So first thing I want to do is make sure, well, I want to mark both parts. So the 3/4 inch that I'm actually going to turn down to, and then the 1.25 inches that I'm actually going to cut into the corner here to break this up so that when I come down here with the bowl gouge, I don't have any tear out. This I can leave. I don't need it yet, but since I'm measuring, I might as well toss it on there because I will eventually need to have that there. And I want to strike this line on this corner bit. Oop, that might have been too far. Let's see. There we go. So that as that's spinning around, I can see that line through the ghosting. Don't need to worry about this one yet. I'll go ahead and make the mark though, because this is where I'll need to cut down to. And I probably shouldn't lay it on this heavy. It's not like I'm pressing into the wood much, but, and it is oak, so it's not like deforming the wood. I'm just leaving a bigger mark that I'm gonna have to sand away, at least up in this area, which is, it is what it is. It just makes it easier to see as it's spinning. So we're going to make this round, and we'll take care of that corner first. And I will do that. So in the overhead, now you probably can't see it in the light, with the lighting the way it is, but basically, I'm just cutting this line. So that when I come in here with my bowl gouge, and I think I just may have, oh, thank goodness. Okay, so when I come down here with the bowl gouge, I won't break this corner. I want to have that. Well, this corner doesn't have to be crisp. What has to be crisp is this corner, and I'll hit this again with the bow gouge. But I want to give myself enough room because the oaks, at least in Michigan, where I have turned the oaks, um, they can be kind of splintery. So breaking off corners like this, they could snap off pretty far back if I don't break this line. So that's the reason I cut these this way. I don't want to have these broken corners. I am taking a fairly heavy cut, but I'm only moving as fast as the tool can go through the material. I always have my ABC set, an anchor at my hip and on the tool rest. I got my bevel pointed in the direction that I want it to travel. It wants to travel along that line anyway, so I point that line in the direction I want to go. And you can use, a rough gouge on something that isn't oak. Often I'll use a skew just a big peeling cut and take those corners off. But again, oak likes to splinter, so I don't like to rough out the material with a skew. So you see on the outside of this cut, I'm getting that tear out. Won't be an issue when I'm turning this corner, that little OG, but if I needed a crisp corner like that, I would work my way down little by little, like I'm going to do here, work my way down to that. So, anyway, just a FYI when you're working with oak, corners like to break off. It's not one of the most forgiving woods to turn, timbers to turn. It does make some pretty pieces, though. One of the things, if I could help you correct if you make this mistake, a lot of people when you see the rate of travel that I'm doing, and a lot of turners will get to the end point here and then speed up and rush right off the edge. You'll get a much better cut and a whole lot less tear out if you don't alter your pace. When you're coming off the end of the piece, keep the same speed, and you'll get a lot cleaner cuts than you would jumping it off there. In fact, I think, yeah, I've got plenty material here on top that I can play with. So I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna get to the end, and oh, I didn't quite make it there. And then I'm gonna come off the end, so you can see I sped up. I got all this breakout here, and the line comes up and out and away uh, because I altered my speed. And if you keep the same pace, and I'm only cutting as fast as your tool can cut, I'm not speeding up to get off the end. It's a like smooth transition. There's no tear out here, no breakout. So that is one thing that's really important to practice is your dismount, I guess, so to speak. Your mount and your dismount are important. The in-between stuff you'll get with your, as your muscle memory will starts to build up, that becomes a lot simpler and easier because you're more in a comfortable stance than when you're starting or when you're ending a cut. So the mount and the dismount is something that you really should practice a lot. And in both cases, it's just a steady movement in the direction you want to cut. It doesn't take a lot of force if your tools are sharp. It doesn't take very much to keep that forward momentum going. It really is a fairly light touch. If you want to hog things off, then of course that's different. And then seasoned wood and green wood are different in how they turn. Um, but there's a whole lot of things that comes into play in a cut. It's not just I'm going to apply the tool to the material and it's going to do its thing. You got the mount. It's just like I guess it's kind of like gymnastics, right? You have the mount and the dismount. The mount is how you get into the cut. Dismount is how do you get out. So I've got this line. I need to get this line straighter there. So I've got my tool rest at an angle so I have less of this hanging off the tool rest and I'm not at an odd angle with the piece. So cutting a lot of air. I'm letting the tool dictate what my speed is until we get to contiguous wood all the way around. It's going to be little by little. And that should be it right there. Now it's starting to get me shaking. So I got past that line right there. And that'll work. I think I'll take, though, a spindle gouge. And we will make that a nice 90-degree corner, even though it's not going to end up that way. It gives me a better target when I'm cutting this up. That line gives me a lot better target, and I'm not at my beginning diameter anyway. This still has to go down. So we're at that point. And the first diameter I want to take is this one. This is the widest part of the piece. And as I was explaining last night when I was working on with this, it's not only split, but it's gone oval. So getting the diameter is kind of more by feel. I'm getting a happy medium between where it's really loose in one direction and it can be a really tight in the other, and so I'm going for happy mediums there to see, like, I'm not making any contact there, but here I need a little bit of pull force to get it past. Whoop, that's too tight. All right, and then here it's almost nothing. So let's go at an angle to those. We'll get that one and that one. That one's tight. This one is kind of loose. It's also tight that way. So let's go this way. Okay, we'll go with this angle because it's a lot more even. Again, the crack is on this side and it's ovaled out this way, which is why I think it cracked. But in the diagonal directions, I get a more even kind of feel. So I'm going to go with these and call this my beginning diameter. It's a little loose. I could go a little bit tighter. A little bit of drag. Maybe not. Maybe back it off a bit. There's that one. Okay, we'll go with that. So that first step right there is 3/4 of an inch. Or, sorry, no. It's 1/2 an inch. So just to make sure, I'll measure with my ruler. That's what's on my storyboard is 1/2 an inch. And then the next part is an inch up. But I'm going to go with this first. Because this is my widest diameter. Make sure these corners are going to clear. Okay. Put that up there. So I'm going to double check my calipers here. Okay, that is the diameter I want. I don't expect that I have to go too far down in there, but should be close. Whoops. Come on, get in the groove, man. Wow. Thought I was closer than I am. In the groove, man. There we go. That's it. All right, where's my guy? There you are. Why are you moving? Alrighty. So for anybody's reference, I'm about 3/4 inch above center. And I've got a really big diameter piece here. It's all going to clear. Ooh, gotta watch out for them corners, man. You saw even with the skew even there that I didn't speed up to come down off the end. In fact, I slowed down just a little bit before I went off the edge there. But that is really, really clean. All right. Oh, that was the wrong guy. Actually, I need to get further out. That's funny. Well, that's all right. At least I got where my diameter needs to be. That's funny. So, I got just a little bit of drag there. So that is the diameter I want. So I just got to bring this down now. That's gonna. Oh, I'm way too high on the tool rest for that. So let's check those corners again. And you know what? Since I'm working with this tool, let's get the center of the post where I need to cut. Actually, I should be on this side because that is rotating. Now I'm not right in front of it. So it is really a groovy thing to be able to turn ambidextrously. And I really think that it's something that everybody can learn to do. I had when I was a kid, fractured my elbow, my right elbow, so I was in a half cast for like 6 weeks. But anyway, and during that 6 weeks, I had to learn to do a lot of things with my left hand. And I kind of kept up with that, I guess you could say. You know, I say sometimes I have a smart hand and a not so smart hand. But with turning, I can go either direction. But I practiced a lot, and now I'm learning to stay on one side of the tool, which is a turning a technique that I haven't learned yet. Well, I mean, I'm learning now. Basically, stay on one side of the tool. So it's like, turning this way, I'm on this side of the tool. I'm going that way, I'm still on this side of the tool. But on a piece like this, it's a little bit more difficult to do because of this dude spinning around. So back to this guy, and I think I still see a bit of that line, but yeah, that is it. So we'll remark that line with not you. So now we go down to our next diameter, which is this guy. Now on the larger newel post, this diameter and this diameter are the same. On this one is smaller than this diameter, which is something I'm really glad that I checked out, because I would have automatically done the same for both. I closed that down way too much, didn't I? And I'm going to keep working on a diagonal here with this, because I think I'm going to get the best results, yeah, by going diagonal instead of trying to go where, like, I've got a little bit of drag there and probably nothing here, absolutely nothing. Like I'm like at least a 1/16 of an inch away from the surface of the wood. So I'm going to keep working on the diagonals and get my diameters from this. Oops, come on, get on the right side. And that feels fairly even, so I'm going to go with that. And that feature is 1 inch tall. So that gives me 1.5 inches there. And I have the diameter now. So I'm just going to work out just this inch part, and the rest is going to be smaller. So I'll just do this diameter, then I'll work down to the next diameter, which will be, excuse me, this guy, that particular bead. And basically just work my way this way, laying everything out, and then I will just have the elements to turn, and that's it. I would think that's going to be close. It's close. That one's actually close. Let's see. I think I'll take just a little bit more of that. It's exciting. I get to take this. There we go. That's the diameter I'm looking for. Take this piece, or this job, I get to deliver on Friday, which is awesome. Before I go off to Gatlinburg, Tennessee, and Aramont School of Art. Hopefully, I'll get to see a couple people I know who live down that way. I don't know if that's going to be a possibility. If one of them is Mitch Jones, he might be. Well, he lives in Gatlinburg now. Yeah, he moved back. So he might pop in. Who knows? That'd be cool. Okay, so that is that quarter of a bead right there. Now I need to work on this diameter. And that was close. Like, that one was, or rather, I need to work on this diameter, which was close to this one down here. This one is the widest, right? And so I've got almost, let's see if I go around this way, about a 16th of an inch different. Oh, that's pretty tight though, so I figured it'd be more than that. Okay, that's not the drag I had before. That's too much. That feels like what it was. So I'm looking at an 1/8 of an inch difference. So I'm going to go ahead and turn it that way. I did turn the other one that way, since the diameters are not actually equal. It is what I expected, though, looking at the piece. And who knows? I mean, this was turned a long time ago. Pretty sure. It was turned by hand. Okay, that's that way. Ooh, I didn't really feel much there. Yep, not that much that way. Let's go a little bit tighter. Okay, a little bit there. Just seeing how much drag I need to get around the piece, and I guess I could just crack that open a little bit more. There we go. That's still a little tight, so back it off just a little bit more, and we'll go with that. All right, so that dude, if I recall, is 5.5 inches up, 5 1/4. Look at that. Well, maybe 5 1/8. So I've got 1.25 there. Let me get everything in line where it needs to be. So yeah, 5 1/4. And if we look at this feather, just to double check ourselves, five and a quarter. So 5 1/4 it is. Uh, 5 1/4. And because I don't want to make another blank, it looks like it lines up to me. So I'm going to work on this diameter now. And that was this guy. Let's double check. Yep. Come here. Oh man, cool. All right. Oh, I should have gone on that side of the line. Oh well, we'll do that now. think I need to be on this side. I can dial that in even better. That's perfect. All right, I need this filler. Let's raise this up again. Okay. So this should be, whoops, all the way down here. That line should be my 5 1/4. All right, now I'm going to work down to this guy right there, and that feature is 5/8 of an inch. So actually, I can take all this down. Enos Mahini, there we go, and yes. And that is too wide, but that is still this guy. And then this is this guy. And then we'll work on, once we got this one, now we're going to work on this one so I can get rid of all that. Okay. Alrighty. So now on this side of the line, let's grab the calipers. I know that's going to be way wide. Should be closer. Alright. Too tight. You know what? Let's set this down like this. I get nothing. Maybe too much drag. It's not terrible. It's a lot lighter here. It's a little bit lighter there. All right, so we'll take that diameter. We'll plug that in. Oh, but I did forget to put down 5/8. I'm pretty sure it's 5/8 of an inch. Or where's that? Okay. That is 5/8 of an inch. in case there's somebody who wants to ask the question. There we go. Normally when I'm working on spindle work, I'm working on stuff that's less than 2 inches in diameter. So when I'm working with calipers, it's a lot nicer to be able to slide that across. But my experience with larger diameter pieces, that even though the points are ground off and it's a smoother thing, it can still get kind of grabby, especially when it gets like close to the diameter. When it's a larger piece. So I normally check this dude when it's stopped when larger pieces like that, just so it doesn't get taken out of my hand. Things don't go bump in the night, all that kind of stuff. All right, so that is close enough. Yeah, that is nice. And now we're going for the next diameter, which in this, where's my ruler? This one is 1/2 inch. If I recall correctly. 1/4, it does look like 1/2 inch. Just about 5/8 actually. So the idea is I do want to copy that, but everything has to match. So I really 5/8. I really want to match these two together. Before I go too far, I know I'm not there yet, but closed them down too much. Wow. Okay, and this one, the diagonal, is looser on one side. Interesting. And that one is just a shade too tight. All right, take that. So I'm close. There we go. Now this should be think it's 1.5 inches. Pretty close. What are we looking at here? 1 and 3/8. 1 inch and 3/8. Cool. All right, so this I need to get from here. Pick up that ruler. So now I need to take this guy down. No, that's good. Knock all that down now. Thinner. I think. Check this one. Whoops.
Cheap viewers on streamboo.com remove the space at PDF5T6V.
Well, thank you, Spam Bot. I appreciate that. But I'm not going to do that. Just a wee bit more. That's good. That needs to be a little bit smaller than this. And now the last diameter. Nope, not that last, the next to last. Let's go with this guy. Okay, a little tight. So this feature is an inch, I believe, could be an inch and a quarter. It is an inch and a quarter, and my storyboard says inch and a quarter, so I'm going to go with that. And then this whole thing is that tall. Oh, don't start that there, dude. Okay, let's get this diameter down really fast. So this gives me the impetus, I guess you could say, to check out some production turners that I follow on Instagram and all that. To see like how they do their storyboards or whatever for the newer posts, because I haven't actually watched production turners do newer posts. Just curious. Maybe I can pick up something. Learn some cool stuff. Always trying to improve my turning skills, so not having, I mean, I've got a storyboard-ish for these, but it's not as fast as it could be, I think, maybe. Simply because I can't just scratch it in. But I don't know, man. I mean, like I say, there's a bunch of stuff out there, I'm sure, that I could learn. Alright, let's get rid of this mess. main difference between using a bowl gouge for a bead as opposed to a spindle gouge is that the handle has to swing a lot wider to get around those corners. With a spindle gouge, not so much. But you can still turn a bead with a bowl gouge, and depending on the size of the bowl gouge, I mean, it's going to be a larger bead than you could do with, a skew or a spindle gouge. Of course, because of the shape of the flute, the tool. But you can still turn beads with it. I mean, basically, that's what a bowl is a bead on the outside and a cove on the inside. All right, so I got to work on this, dude. And get that diameter. It's not bad. There we go. And that'll give me the bottom of my cove there. Trying to pre-start my cove with the parting tool. So close. That'll do. All right, so that is all my diameters. Now all I have to do is turn all the elements. So let's get some of these tools out of the way. Keep the workhorse. Grab the spindle gouge. I don't need that anymore. Movement with the spindle gouge, the handle is mostly up and down. There's not a whole lot of side to side. Let's see, let's knock this guy off. This guy. This one. This one. Little bit clear cut here. Now I can work on my code. Oh, hello. Oh. There we go. With my code. Let's clean this up. There we go. Much better. Now I gotta worry about that guy. But before we do that, oh, and I'll have to turn that off. Well, what do you know? I'm gonna say they match. But of course I would say that. Yeah, not necessarily. All right, so I just need the shorter tool rest for this last little bit. Oh, get this set the right height for the spindle gauge. About there, looks good. First, we will take off. So I want to keep these corners crisp. Where'd you go? There you are. I can see the line in the ghost. So break that line up just a tad bit there, but I'm right on the line and I've got this broken up now, so these corners will stay sharp. Now I can get to the angle that I need to make this last little element. So this is, looking down on this, a little bit of an OG. It's really minor, but it's there, and it spans about ½ an inch. Let's take it on the other side. Everything's going to clear. And we'll And we find that with the spindle gouge. Now, at this point right here on the curvature, right, I'm getting grain support all the way through this cut. Once I pass, and I won't pass because I got a little bit of a hump there now, but I will my OG will meet right at the bottom of this ring, so that I won't have an edge to come off of. So through the whole cut, I should have grain support all the way through going down, since this is in spindle orientation. So I shouldn't have any tear out there. Beautimous. And then I'll grab my do I have it down here? My negative rake. Oh, I do. Excellent. I need the burr. So let's take care of that. Excuse me. Oops, bumped that guy. And I dropped my yardstick. Okay. So I just need to clean up a little bit. It's just, yeah, right there. A little bit of tool mark there. Just right in there. And so what I'll do is I'll take negative rake scraper and get it at an angle to get a really sheer scrape on that. And that clean that right up. So actually, take it a little bit further. See, I should probably go backwards on this one because there we go. And then the rest of that I'll sand out really, really nicely. Now I'm good to go other than turning that away. All right, so I don't need that up here. I don't need that up here. In fact, this can get put away for now. I don't need the spindle gouge. So just for funsies, since I've already got this essentially between centers, shot. Not helping me out there. There we go. Am I looking at a ring? I am not. I'm looking at that. Yeah, not much there, but okay, great. I need to clean that up. Oh, that's pretty clean. I don't guess I'm going to be going at breakneck speed. Now watching corners, my natural proclivity is to have my thumb out instead of tucked in right here. It wants to be out like this. I've learned to tuck that dude in. Come on. I think this is the biggest benefit. Yeah, I don't know. I think so. I think this is at least in the top three benefits of working with sharp tools. Is that the sanding goes a lot faster. I get the finish off the tool. You know, I can make this a little bit rounded, so I'm going to wait on that. Let's see, and that's all grain. This is what kind of throwing me off. I see these white stripes go by, and these here too, and they happen to kind of, two of them line up, so it looks like, you know, it's not sanded right there. Kind of throwing me off a bit. Get rid of that pencil mark. And that pencil mark. And since I've gone around 3 sides, we'll make it 4. Okay, so make this a little bit rounder and then get rid of that dude. Although, yeah, a little bit rounder. Let's go that side. Does not look like a spindle gouge to me. Nor does that. Ah, but that does. Well, hell, Dave, why don't we just set it up? Since you're going to be just making these 2 cuts, I'm worried. Set it up so it can be easy. Then do the same thing on the other side. Look at that, dude. All right. There we go. A little bit rounder. This could be a little bit rounder. All right. That's really clean cut. I don't think that that is actually an inch tall. I think it's like 7/8. Yeah, 7/8 on that dude. So should have 7/8 on this dude. And I do. So I have 7/8 on this dude. Ah, there it is. And I can see where I kind of hopped out of my cut. Right about there. And that will be the height that I need. Let's move this guy aside so that I can get rid of. Well, hold on a second. Can I get close enough? Somehow or another, wood chips in my mouth. Let's see, I put that guy away, didn't I? I did. There, you're in here somewhere. There you are. Okay, cool. Loosen that up. Take that back. Move you out of the way. Which means the storyboard has to move. There we go. Okay. I'm curious here. Go. Alrighty then. Again, I don't need to be going at breakneck speed. This is the last piece in that job. Making noises I don't want to hear. I guess I'm going to have to open that up again. Dun, 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 dun. Looking for spots that might need a little more attention. Just a little more attention. All right, there we go. Oh, and I have to do that again. See my thumb go out there? Man, that's hard to. And that thumb too. There we go. Done deal. And I really want to look at that. I don't know if it's the weight of this thing. Oops. I'll take all that off. And it's sticking out so far because, I mean, this is a mid-range sized lathe, right? It's not. Oh, come on. Got a 1-horse motor, 1-inch spindle. Yep, still making that sound. So I'm going to take it apart because I don't know. Last time we had that issue, that key came out. And I just don't know how, because it's got a Allen screw sitting like right over the top of it, going through one of the pulleys. Nope, that's not the case this time. Key's right there. Or is it? Flashlight. Here we go. There it is. So the key's still there. I forgot there was 2 keyways, but only one is used. So everything there is still there. What is making that? That. Again with that. Alright, so that tells me that it is time now to change this bearing again, which is fortunately only a little bit annoying. I don't have to take this pulley loose. It's just this one I gotta work with so I can knock everything out. Because it's chewing up my wheel, because it is not. It looks like that bearing is chewed up now. So, that's a bummer. Let's get rid of this guy. And, you know what, before I do that, let's get rid of this guy. There we go. Since right now I don't need that. Okay, that can stay up there. Cover can stay off. That's not a big deal. Let's put this away. Right there. How cool is that? Okay, so let's grab these guys. And actually, I could do a little bit of this. Maybe I can do it with some air. You know what? I think I'll vote for air. Let's get rid of that guy. Put that up there. Where did you set them, Dave? Not there. So it's gonna, unfortunately, we're gonna be a little short. There it is, right there. A little shorter broadcast because I gotta fix my lathe. I think, I don't know, man. I think I may have to. I wonder if I can do like a GoFundMe or something like that. It might be, because this lathe is now, well, it's 10 years old, or 11 years old. But I think I need a slightly larger lathe. Definitely something that's got at least 2 horses on it. And this particular lathe, without some serious re-engineering, won't take a 2-horse motor. I'm about to put a whole lot of miles on this lathe. Geez, how many? Let's see, 4 motors. Funnily enough, only 2 belts ever. I still have a spare belt hanging on the wall behind me. I was expecting that to wear out like fastest. I've had to replace the pulleys twice. And I've had to replace, let's wait for the compressor to catch up, pulleys twice, pulleys on the motor and where the pulleys are on the shaft of the spindle. Let's see, I've had to replace the bearings probably 5 times now. This will be number 6. And I've had to replace the start-stop switch, and I'm having troubles with it. Occasionally not wanting to make a connection. So, but the biggest issue is that this wheel is getting chewed up, and that's not a good thing. So, gonna have to figure that one out. There we go. It looked like this would get hurt if it got touched with an elevation right on the very side. There we go. So, unfortunately, having said all that, it looks like this is going to be about the end of the broadcast, because I won't be using the lathe until I get this pulley situation figured out. I really do think I've got to replace another. I hope not. I just had that out and it looked okay. But, that doesn't mean anything. And that may not be my issue. In any case, this pulley here, which you can't see, anyway, is a little bit too far back. So, let's turn off the compressor. Oh, it beat me to it. Let's grab, where did I put that? In the back, I hope. Nope, not over there. Where'd you go, dude? Oh, over there. All right. So, let's get a better side. There we go. And these two match. See, pulling that back, you can see the beads here. Same as those. So there we are. I've got now the 2 smaller newel posts are done. So that means all my newel posts are done. Yay! This job is finished, and darn it, man! I was hoping, because I knew this is the last piece I had to turn, and I wanted to stream it. And it took me way longer than I thought it would take. But I was also talking through a few things as explanations of what I was doing. Um, so I was hoping at the end then, because usually when I do a job like this, or I have a commission and I get to the point that I finished the job, get everything ready to deliver, and then I just throw a lump of timber on there and play and let it turn into whatever it's going to turn into. And that's what I was hoping, I was waiting for. I wanted to do that this evening, but yeah, I got to take care of that first. So that's not going to happen. I will turn another time, and it may even be that I don't get to play around with it until I get back from Aramont. So could be a week from now, week and a half. But I've got tomorrow evening, so maybe I can get it working tomorrow evening and play. I don't know that I want to come back from Airmont and have a lathe to fix before I can do anything with it. So I'll do what I can to get into it tomorrow evening. All right, fair enough. Okay, so them's the breaks. Unfortunately, it's kind of a drag, but it is what it is. You got to maintain your equipment. And sometimes it's just like this arise. I could always throw the smaller lathe up here, but I also have things to do to get ready to get our Airmont too. So we'll just call this a wrap. Let me turn off that light. And I will say thank you again for supporting this channel and this broadcast, tuning in, sharing it with your friends, subscribing, chatting, throwing things in chat. All that affects the algorithms, of course, for Twitch. I'm sure it's kind of a similar thing for Instagram and Facebook and all those other ones. So TikTok, I guess. I'm not on that one. But anyway, thank you very much for the support. I appreciate it. This has been a pretty cool journey, and being able to meet some new folks online that are also Twitch streamers and pretty groovy folks so far. Um, yeah, it's been fun. It's been fun, and it's been really great being able to as I say, practice is the secret sauce, right? So even practicing, I'm streaming here. I'm trying to teach what wood turning, what I'm doing and tool handling skills and all that as we go. I think I will have perhaps in the future. Actually, what I think I'm going to do, or what I'm trying to do, actually is on YouTube. That's why I have these little clappers over here. Little scene. How do I? I could break those out into little YouTube shorts that are 2 or 3 minutes long, and that might boost some views too. So that'd be pretty cool. But anyway, as I was saying, thank you very much for the support. I appreciate it. Of course, this channel, even if nobody's watching this channel, I'd still do the things because it's practice, and I look at the videos afterwards so I can see where I can improve. And I think that it's been a blast. And thanks for coming along for the ride. So, having said all that, unfortunately, I'm going to wrap it up this evening because, we'll call it lathe down. Um, I hope you all stay friendly, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your evening. I hope to see you here on Twitch. I'm going to take my little tripod for my phone because I want to do my best to stream from Aramont on Tuesday, at least Tuesday evening. I'm not sure about Wednesday evening next week, but next week I'll be, as I said, in Gatlinburg, Tennessee. um, and not at my own lathe in my own shop with the cameras and computer and whatnot. So I'll have to do it on my phone. Which reminds me, I need to pack my extra long charging cable, which I will do. And so, well, it'd be like that. So hopefully, I'll be able to do that from Gatlinburg, Tennessee next week. And if that's the case, I hope to see you again here on Twitch. And as I said, I hope you enjoy the rest of your evening. I'm going to sign off. Take care, folks. See you soon.